Well, just like I did for Chase, now we have another old versus new. Yes, old versus new is back again. It keeps taking breaks. I don't know why. I guess I just don't feel like talking about old toys as much, which is bad because I love talking about older toys and I need to do it more, so I'm going to do it more. This is an old versus new for the original Rescue Bots HEATWAVE. Yeah, that one. It's very beat up and dirty. It was a thrift store acquisition. And the new Transformers, I almost said Legacy, but no, this is Age of the Primes HEATWAVE. It's very, very cool, but it's got some issues. Yeah, let's just say they translated HEATWAVE by making him a retool of Legacy Bulkhead, which I've always talked about that Legacy Bulkhead mold not feeling like it works for Bulkhead. And then they did it for Breakdown, and I'm like, I don't feel like it works for Breakdown. And now we have it for HEATWAVE, and I feel like it's close. This mold is close to having that figure that truly feels like it owns it. But there's pretty much just like one area of this figure that I really have significant issue with. And just to get it out of the way, and I can say this because I'm also a certified big boy, he's fat. He just looks so chunky. And the worst part about it, the thing that makes him look the chunkiest, is that for this Rescue Bots figure, you can see like the headlights and things that like form the front of the truck become the fists. Here, they just stay there, which is odd because when you look at the bot mode, you can see those same headlights on the forearms as they are on the original figure. So it has like fake lights here, but it has the real lights still like right here. And in my opinion, it would have been so easy, since this is already a new torso, to just make it so maybe these pieces just like push back a little bit or like pinch in a little bit just to kind of slim him up, just that little bit, because especially from like this angle he looks fat and you can see like all this emptiness. Like I can stick my finger in this figure, like I can just stick my finger in there and there it is. It was a similar issue that I had with the Bulkhead and Breakdown versions. I was really hoping that they would have rectified it for this HEATWAVE, but no. Alrighty, that's the big elephant out of the room. Now let's just compare the fact that we're getting modern, articulated, like, actual figures of Rescue Bots characters. I think that's so awesome. I already did an old versus new when Chase came out, and Chase was one of my favorite figures in Legacy. I love that Chase, and I think that mold also works very, very well as Cliff Jumper. This time around, I think this is the best version of this mold, and I will do some bot mode comparisons with Breakdown and Bulkhead. Don't worry, I will. It's the best version, but it just has those issues where I feel like they could have fixed it, and it does have a weird, like, thing it does with the ladder because it is just a remold, because the legs are exactly the same as Bulkhead and Breakdown. Like, he has the exact same legs. He's got new thighs, though. I've noticed, like, looking at these side by side, he's got new thighs, and we'll see that when we do the direct comparisons. But a lot of the rest of him is entirely brand new, which is very odd to me, considering the fact that he still has a lot of the same issues. All right, direct comparison out of the way. You can see the original Rescue Bot is a little bit on the bigger side, and the new HEATWAVE is a Voyager, which is actually very cool. I've definitely enjoyed that it's a Voyager class this time around. I think the fact that he's a fire truck, making him a Voyager, it just makes sense. But once we'll have him next to Chase, you can see, looks a little odd that they're different sizes. All right, let's talk about the original one a little bit, because he's funny, and I love him. You can see my boy has seen some better days. But you know what all this means right here? This figure made a kid happy, and that makes me happy. This figure was played with. This figure was loved before it got donated to my thrift store. And now I own it, and I just keep it in storage under one of my shelves. Yeah, maybe someday some younger members of my family will once again give this figure a little bit of play. I really do enjoy Rescue Bots. I think it's a very great line for younger Transformers fans, and it's so awesome that this line, you know, this line's like, what, nearly 15 years old? It's been around for so long, now we're getting generations figures of these characters. Rescue Bots was the G1 for many kids. Like, this was their introduction to the franchise. One of my introductions was the old, like, Tonka GoBot stuff. Like, the old Play School GoBots. That was my introduction back in the day. But now, You know, Rescue Bots isn't really in stores much nowadays, which is very disappointing to me. I don't really see him around anymore. But hey, this HEATWAVE is very nice. You can see the bot mode's very nice and durable. No articulation whatsoever. I do like the head, even though it's not accurate to the show. These toys kind of predated the show, and in the show they decided to give them more of like a, you know, mechanical jaw look because it's just more appealing for younger kids, I feel like. So they got rid of like the normal faces that a lot of these figures had, and they gave them mechanical jaws. Smaller, newer figures of HEATWAVE have the more accurate head sculpt, but this is the original mold. Specifically, the Energon version with clear blue plastic. These Energon versions were released much broader than the originals, and all of my Rescue Bots figures are these clear Energon ones. I almost never see the originals, it's just these Energon ones. Alright, that's pretty much the bot mode on him out of the way. Now I gotta say, even though I still think he looks fat, I really, really do like the look of this guy in a lot of other ways. I think his arms look really nice and robust, and I really do enjoy the resculpting that they did to his arms, especially the, you know, the yellows and the silvers on the arm, even though it makes no sense because that same detail's right there. The head sculpt is fantastic, and we'll get a little bit closer on that in a bit, but he has some of the best light piping I've seen on a Transformer in a long time. His legs, especially from the knees down, are completely the same as Bulkhead and Breakdown. You can even see they also have like this panel back here, and when you transform it, still has that little gas tank that you're going to flip out. That detail that I always forget on the original ones. He has a ladder back here that you can detach, and he can hold it as like an accessory if you want. You can have him, you know, have it on his arm like a shield. You can have him use it like he's actually, you know, rescuing, saving some people. But overall, it's just supposed to stay on his back. He doesn't have the wheels back there anymore. You can see he doesn't have the wheels, but he still has like the spots where the wheels used to be. So he's got like all this empty space and like these empty holes. It's very odd. But I do think they remolded him pretty well. I do overall enjoy the look, and I can kind of see past the tubbiness, but there's just so much of him like sticking out from his torso. Like, I wish at least, like on the packaging, his head is more positioned like right here. I wish at least you could maybe like move the head forward a little bit, maybe the legs forward. I don't know. Something should have happened here just to make it proportionally look a little better. But looking at this cab, like the silver paint is gorgeous. The white trim is amazing. This clear blue plastic looks really, really good. And I do enjoy how these figures do come with these clear blue accessories because it does harken back to the clear blue on the Energon. You can see he's got an axe and he has like a double nozzle, I guess, water spray gun. It's very neat. And as promised, getting closer on this head sculpt is just so well done. I love the look of the goggles. He's got the little bit of yellow right there. I actually really like the gray plastic chin and then the silver face. I really like that differentiation, and it really just makes it stand out. And you can see he's got clear blue for the goggles, but he has clear blue eyes behind that, and you can see the light piping is shining through. Like, you can actually see the eyes shining through, and it just looks so, so good. This is one of the best head sculpts I have seen in recent years. It's so well executed, and it's definitely one of the best cases of light piping as well. For this HEATWAVE's articulation, he has a ball joint at the head. You can get a little bit of wiggle, a little nice up and down. More than 86 Optimus! You can also move the head left and right. The ladder, you can move around back there if you want. His shoulders are on universal joints, and they're so tight, sometimes the shoulders want to like come untabbed before the shoulder moves. Especially on this one. Bicep swivels. He has very nice elbow joint. More than 86 Optimus. Yeah, it's a running gag how much that figure disappoints me at this point. Swivels at the wrists. He does have a swivel at the waist. His legs move up pretty well and out to the side pretty well. Thigh swivel, knee bend. Then his feet can move down and up. And he also has a heel spur, and he's got some pivot for, you know, some more dynamic poses. Whoa, HEATWAVE, what are you doing, bro? Getting some comparisons with HEATWAVE out of the way, let's bring in his bros, Bulkhead and Breakdown. Interestingly, all three of these characters are in the same continuity. And looking at all three of these, I do think HEATWAVE owns the mold the best. I do think he does. I think Bulkhead, I look at that and honestly I see Age of Extinction Hound more than I see Bulkhead, especially since I got the camo one from Amazon. The Breakdown, it's cool. it's nice to have a Legacy breakdown to go with a Legacy knockout, but both of them are kind of, half-assed attempts at the characters. HEATWAVE is definitely the best of these three, but even then, he still has that really bulky torso, and I know for a fact they could have done something to slim him down. They could have done something, but it is what it is. I still think it's a decent figure. It's one I'm still happy to have, and I'm still happy to see how these rescue bots continue. We still need Blades, and we still need Boulder. But for now, we have HEATWAVE, Chase, and Medics for our Generations Rescue Bots team. And yeah, it's looking very, very nice so far. I do enjoy HEATWAVE being larger. I think it kind of makes sense for the character. I think it makes sense, him being a fire truck, he's going to be larger than a police car and an ambulance. But he, it looks a little off, especially since in the show they're all the same size. But still, I cannot wait to complete this team. I cannot wait to have Blades. I wonder how Blades, they're going to do him with, his dome. I wonder if we would see maybe, a weird Cybertron Jolt repaint out of it, because Jolt also has that same, helicopter dome. And then we still need Boulder, and I think that'd be really cool. I really can imagine his feet having tons of articulation with how those scoops might work. We'll see. I highly doubt they will just retool Scrapper. That would be very disappointing if they just retool Scrapper. I need the shovel to be his feet. If they do not do that, I will be sorely disappointed. Alright, and with that, let's go ahead and transform these guys. So the transformation on this figure is going to be super, super complex. We're going to take the ladder, and we're going to move all this. We're going to put the hands down. We're going to flip in the feet. Boom, there you go. There's the original Rescue Bot one. Very nice and easy, very smooth, very good. Then to transform him back, you're just going to move that ladder and then flip these feet down. Yeah, very nice and smooth, very clean, very fast. It's the exact kind of transformation you want for a toy meant for small children. This is very nice. I can just imagine kids going, transform, and then, and boom, there you go. There you go. You got HEATWAVE. It's such a nice transformation. It's so fun. I really like how you use the ladder as well. I think it's just very cute. All right, there's the Rescue Bots one. Let's transform the Legacy. I mean the Age of the Primes. I'm just so used to saying Legacy. Legacy lasted for so long. All right, let's go ahead and remove these little accessories. They just kind of tab into the back of the fire truck when we're done, and I hate it, so don't expect me to worry too much about that. All right, let's see if I remember this. If I recall correctly, we do need to remove the ladder for the transformation, which is a little unfortunate, but what can you do? All right, let's see how much of this transformation I can recall, because it's got a lot of weird stuff going on. It's one of those, I think. I definitely classify this transformation as one of those where I just struggle to maintain the memory of how any of this goes. The order of operations and everything. Every time I've revisited this mold, I just cannot remember anything. I can't retain any of the transformation elements on this guy. So I know the head moves down, but we also got to flip this panel out. And I don't see where we're going to get the opening for that. Maybe if we move this, that'll give us all the space we need. Maybe, possibly. Oh, yeah, for sure. Move that, and then we have all the space. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. These weird hinges on this mold have always, just confused me and thrown me off. They're just so awkward to me. They're just so awkward how they work. But this is one of the primary reasons, unfortunately, why we don't really, can't really afford extra space in the cab, because the arms need to, just shove themselves up there. Yeah, again, I feel especially with, the arm positioning and everything, I really think they could have done some sort of retooling to actually make this part the actual arm. I think they could have done it. I think if they really put their minds to it, they could have actually made that the arm. I don't think it's in there all the way, though. I don't think it's in there quite right just yet. There we go. Got to hear that little click. All right. So then the legs. I think we rotate the waist on this guy. Maybe. I don't remember. Don't worry. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. We're actually almost there if I got this right. We will once again flip out these gas tanks. I do enjoy how these are hidden in there. It's just so interesting to me when they just hide complete parts of the alt mode into, a part like that. All right, let's get these gas tanks tabbed into the thighs so all that is lined up properly. And you can see it doesn't really have like any of the tools and everything you would want with a fire truck on the side. That's a detail that like the original Rescue Bot has, and I'm definitely missing here. But that's it. That's the fire truck. You can see it still has all the same like weird like military grading back there. What we do with the ladder though is kind of interesting, because they still make it so it positions in the same way as it does with the original Rescue Bot one. I think it just like slots in a very like particular way. I'm trying to remember. It has a weird slot in. Oh yeah, these bits right here are going to slot into those notches in the thighs. Yeah. How odd is that? And then those like notches sculpted in are going to like line up with the feet. So that way you still have the ladder like positioned in the exact same way as the original. Now with these weapons, you're just supposed to like tab them back here. Well, they're technically not weapons, they're rescue tools because it's a Rescue Bot. But yeah, you're just supposed to tab them in back there. It's kind of whatever, but we'll leave them back there for the sake of, you know, completionism. And here we are. Here are both of the vehicles in their alt modes. And it's honestly crazy to say this, but I think the Rescue Bot one pulls it off just a little bit better. Mostly because of all these cool details, like all this piping and everything, little controls back there. Seems like maybe even more like little step ladders back there. Like it has a lot of nice little detail on this truck. And the ladder is integrated into the figure. It's not like a parts forming thing. While with this guy, if you lose that ladder, he's going to look like trash. I feel like they could have retooled maybe these gas tank things to look more like fire truck parts. I don't know. I just feel like this part looks really nice. Then all this back here just looks like the junk that was covered up with the bulkhead mold by that like big shield tarp. And it just looks like a hot mess back here. Like, what purpose does this serve now? That serves no purpose. If you want to be absolutely like anti-parts former, you can remove this ladder, get this tab back, and you can just leave it tabbed back here. Like you can if you want, if you're so inclined. But it'll be facing the other way now, which isn't the end of the world. You know, you can flip it around, you can do stuff. And you could even maybe like tab it in over on this side if you want to like make it look like he's using it in some way. Yeah, it's neat, but it's just not going to work. This guy definitely suffers in many ways from being a retool, and it's unfortunate. I feel like, you know, Chase got his very own original mold, and I feel like they could have done the same for HEATWAVE. But no, I think they had that bulkhead and breakdown mold, and they're like, we don't have a character that this mold really fits with. Let's try it with HEATWAVE. And sure, he works the best on it, but I still, on the third go-around, feel like this mold should be used for a different character. Who that character is quite yet, I don't even know. But I just don't think they've hit the mark quite yet on this mold. It needs something else. It needs an extra little splash of something, some other character. I can't even put my finger on it. Let me know down in the comments if you have any ideas on what this mold could be used for character-wise. I know it could be used for a better character. It's just a matter of what. Again, I think this HEATWAVE is the best use. Definitely fits better than Breakdown and Bulkhead. Definitely, for sure. But it still leaves a little bit to be desired. Alrighty, guys, there we go. There's another old versus new out of the way. This time, Rescue Bot's HEATWAVE versus the new Age of the Prime's Voyager HEATWAVE. I like both of these. The original HEATWAVE is just a classic, iconic Rescue Bots toy. And the new one is a nice addition to a little subset of Generations. I didn't really expect to happen until we saw the reveal for Chase in Legacy. Generations Rescue Bots. I'm still loving these Rescue Bots, and I am definitely game for all the rest. Hopefully all the rest just turn out better than HEATWAVE. I have a feeling HEATWAVE's probably going to end up being like the weak link of the Rescue Bots team, unfortunately. Alrighty, guys, there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Special shout out to channel members, as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.